Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be continuing the story for Valentine Fantasy. Let's do this. Thank you, Boogeyman, for giving us such a warm welcome for your own event. Alright, so we will be continuing off with episodes 4 and 5 in this stream. Yo, Oddly Arrival, welcome. Sorry I started a bit late. This phone over here is my second phone I use just for Housamo, and I think I just didn't turn off the last time I streamed, so it got drained all the way to 0. Anyway, let's continue with episode 4. So, where we last left off... what even happened in the last episode? Okay, so in the first episode, we got abducted to Boogeyman's world by mistake, because it seems someone has usurped Boogeyman's control. And then Balor scared off some giants that were causing a ruckus. And then in the second stream, what we covered was Ketchy trying to cheer up all the children after they got scared. Yo, Xena, welcome. And after that, then we hunted down the wolves and rescued some remaining children in the forest. So what's left then is actually Boogeyman's as well as Etsamina's arc. I'm not sure where it's going to go from there, but I think the idea is they're going to go deeper into the forest maybe to try to find out who exactly has usurped the power in this world that Etsamina and the crafters designed. Very elaborate hobby that Boogeyman is indulging in, like request the crafters to specifically create something that enormous. But it's a virtual world apparently. It's not a prop set. It's just, you know, their bodies are being taken over by some fairies right now, and their mind has been abducted or somewhere. So, yeah, most likely. We saw also a glimpse in the previous episode that Boogeyman was fading away. That's likely a hint at the fact that Boogeyman can only exist as long as the belief and the fear in him exists, which is probably fading just because of his role in rescuing all the children now. And as for Etsamina's role, I mean, he's already used his powers in the previous battle, but I don't really know what it's going to be about. He's kind of just there as an extra so far, honestly. Maybe it'll be related to the design of the location, just because he was the one who designed it alongside the rest of the creators. Here we are. Alright. One day, just past noon, a figure abruptly appears before my eyes. This is probably Etsamina, so I'm gonna voice him.
There's a sense of isolation to him, perhaps accounted for by his pallid complexion, which gives the impression he's someone who's not used to dealing with others. So that's the plan I have for my virtual world, and I was hoping you might be able to lend a hand. What do you say? His request is that I design a world to help discipline misbehaving children through fear so as to recondition them for good behavior, and the design is to be based on his homeworld. My initial instinct is to take no part in a project intended to induce trauma in the vulnerable minds of children. But the man pleads to me, insisting I have the wrong idea. He tells me that he's simply a teacher who's concerned about the future of modern youth. I will consider your proposition then, but only on one condition.
By my urging, he agrees to include a sort of cool-down area within his world devoted to sweetness and delights. It is to be a literal Candyland. He's actually averse to the idea initially. You know, I mean, that's not really part of the Boogeyman mythos, so now that I think about it, I guess that part wouldn't have been concocted by Boogeyman at all. But he needs my help, and with no satisfactory alternatives, he eventually comes to accept my proposed compromise. And this is how the collaboration between Boogeyman and me comes to be. Through our combined efforts, we then go on to create a virtual world of fairy tales.
Boogeyman, don't you think you might be overdoing it just a bit? Are you going to wind up seriously scarring the children? No, these are just fairy tales. It's just a sort of training. There won't be any lasting damage, I'm sure of it. Think of it as a necessary evil. Sometimes getting a good scare can be a great benefit. We mustn't fear, so to speak.
Hey, Zombie, welcome. We were just starting off with the first episode, and we have a flashback of Itzamna and Boogeyman, where Boogeyman has requested Itzamna to design this Candyland / Horrorland.
Besides which, fairy tales are the domain of children. Once they grow up, they'll have forgotten all about this place.
Next time you should charge your phone after. No, I don't use this phone for that. Actually, that is one of the legitimate reasons why I decided to use this shittier old phone. One of them is just because my newer phone can't stream properly, because I guess it has too many pixels and frames that it ruins the Wi-Fi connection to it. But the other is, I don't want to deal with removing any sort of insecure open files or whatever.
But the fear instilled in them here will remain, guiding their actions for future days. This is why fairy tales are so essential.
Our individual ideologies on personal and moral education diametrically opposed. I recall bumping heads with them on a regular basis, but it's only natural that our approaches should remain at odds. We're both products of very different environments. I actually don't know anything about Itzamna's world, so I don't know what exactly his deal is.
Whereas I hold an innate fear of fragmentation and loss, he fears the opposite for some reason. He fears that which cannot be broken.
So it's kind of similar to what they were talking about with Balor and Tezcatlipoca, where Tezcatlipoca was talking about Tashta, and his view of perfection was something where there was nothing left to add. And for Tezcatlipoca's view, the view of perfection was where there's nothing left to lose. But by the way, if you forget, Balor said the idea of perfection is actually permanence, so a compromise for both. Still, after much cajoling, I eventually find myself accepting Boogeyman's views on moral education,
albeit with my own twist. Perhaps those children who escaped the sandbox world may ultimately think of it as unreal, as a little more than a transitory nightmare from which they've now woken. But from the fleeting memories of that nightmare, the bonds they have with their families and friends may be markedly improved moving forward. Say, Boogeyman, you mentioned we'd only be bringing children who've strained parental or familial relationships, no? Why are they the only ones being targeted? Of course, if you'd rather not say, that's fine. But I am curious. This question prompts me to learn a bit about Boogeyman's kinder, gentler side. There's been a bit of a hint of it up to this point, but this is the impetus for him to really open up and show me what lies in his heart. Bit by bit, he reveals more and more of his true self to me, and there's much more to it there than I'd given him credit for. I just feel they shouldn't take relationships like that for granted. They don't know what it's like without them. But I do, and I don't want anyone else to go through that. Or, I don't know, maybe I'm just envious of them? And this is when I first began to see Boogeyman not as a teacher trying to guide children who have lost their way, but as a lonely child himself, seeking to spare others from his fate. It sounds like you've struggled so much to get where you are, Boogeyman. I greatly admire your resolve. You do? Yes. If I had gone through what you're describing, I'm not sure I'd even be here now. I'm more the sort who just watches as my own siblings bravely face certain doom. I'm a little more than a coward, really.
So he's a bit like Charlotte then.
I think back to the teachings of my homeworld, El Dorado, and to my brethren, who approached death and self-sacrifice with confidence and bravado. Me, however, I just keep preaching the value of life. I reason that if you persist with life, fortune will eventually show you its favor.
Wow, that's quite the opposite mentality from his mythology in his own homeworld.
Ostensibly, I've always sought to break the shackles of my world's teachings. Yet, in the end, I'm merely trapped by my own fear of loss. Perhaps in my desperation to avoid death, I've actually been struggling to live. You face your weaknesses head on and unafraid. I respect you for that, my friend. You're not like the cowardly lizard that I am. Did you just call me friend? Do you truly regard a filthy fae like me as your friend? Of course, assuming you don't mind being friends with a relic of the past, that is. Oh, I don't mind at all. It's just...
Boogeyman, at a loss for words, begins to glow a bit, and I can't
help but smile. For as much trouble as he was to deal with when he first came to me, it's truly shocking to see how much he's grown on me now. Thank you, Professor Housamo. I'm honored to call you my friend. Oh, all of a sudden I'm a professor now too. Sorry. I just felt it would be better for me to address you more properly.
Teacher bonding. Gotta love it. Last time we saw something that cute was Kruznik as well as Sandu. Which, by the way, I would say is a much more interesting teacher relationship than Krichin and Jean ever was. After work each day, the two of us would go out for drinks, as friends do, and continue working toward the completion of our fairy tale world, bit by bit. Valentine Fantasy and Eternal Fairyland, Episode 4. 2 guides. Okay, so this is probably both Boogeyman and Housamo. Interesting. Hey, what's on your mind, old man? Going for your thoughts?
I was just reminiscing about when I first Boogeyman. Didn't you see that flashback? It wasn't even that long ago, but it still feels like a dear memory to me. I suppose you grow more sentimental as you age.
He looks over at Ark, Balor, and the others, who are all busy trying to comfort the rescued children. Everything's going to be just fine now. You're safe and sound with all of us here.
Yeah, hey, I know. How about some music? Music always helps me cheer up.
For the last time, you little runt, smile and laugh. You do know it's treason to defy a king's order, don't you?
I don't think Balor quite gets it. Yell than you, big lug. Let's go to the poor kid now. The group of rescuers try all they can to cheer up the kids as Boogeyman quietly watches from afar. Poor Boogeyman. His absence doesn't go unnoticed, however. Housamo comes over and sits down at his side. Besties!
Surely you've noticed by now, but the party's over there, not here. Why are you all by yourself, friend? You know, if I mingle with the kids, they'll just get scared of me and think I'm trying to torment them again or something. It's happened all too often. I've learned to accept it. You go on back. Just leave me be. I'm fine here. What do you advise a child who's been shunned for their looks to just accept their lot in life and give up, Mr. Boogeyman?
Boogeyman struggles to find the words to respond.
Must you be so harsh, Professor? A wise man once taught me the best lesson or the hardest thought, even if it means chucking your students off the cliff.
Boogeyman fails to suppress a short chuckle at the remark. He turns to look at the children. With a sigh, he gets up and carefully approaches one who's still crying, as of yet unnoticed by the others. He cautiously kneels down beside the child.
Come now. I I know there's a smile hiding behind those tears. Oops. How would you like some chocolate?
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
Stranger danger? Actually, I haven't reported to the neighborhood associations before. But
A pang of grief stops him from completing his sentence. He wordlessly slinks back to his solitary little corner and curls up into a ball. Aww. Malora Grandpa Ponce are in the negative. I mean, hey, he's like he doesn't need to be a good grandpa to anyone but his own grandson.
Yeah! Boogeyman, I just thought of a great idea! All you gotta do is...
Huh? You really think that'll work?
It worked with the kitties in my pixie cat room, so yeah! I think he'll do the trick for sure!
But Laura is trying his best. He sure is. Boogeyman stands up and approaches the children once more.
Here, kitty kids, I brought you some chocolate. Oh, but wait, what's going on? 1, 2, 3.
He closes his fists around the handful of chocolate he's placed from Swamp, and after counting to 3, he waves a small twig from a nearby tree over it before opening it again. To reveal no chocolates at all. They vanished into thin air.
Where did they go? Oh no, but wait, check your pockets. I suspect Mystical Fairy must have just made a delivery.
The kids quickly begin rustling through their pockets, and each quickly produce chocolate in the shape of a fairy.
Whoa! No way! That's so cute! But how'd you do it?
Sitting in the corner, he just like, for real? Like you for real? Like me for real? Oh man, I got something in my eye. No, it's not tears, it's actually just like crap in my eye.
I suppose the fairies just wanted to give you all a thank you for being such good kids today.
Do you think the fairies will keep giving us gifts if we keep being good?
Of course, I guarantee it. Just always remember what you've learned here, and the fairies will never fail to watch over you.
Some of the children still seem afraid to approach Boogeyman, but those who responded kindly to his magic tricks are all smiles, and that alone gives him a sense of satisfaction unlike any other he's experienced since the ordeal began.
I wouldn't call that a raging success, but it did far better than I expected it would.
Noticing Housamo watching from far, figuratively smiling ear to ear, Boogeyman scratches his head sheepishly. Ah, Boogeyman's cute. He seemed to be in good spirits, finally. I'm really happy for you, Mr. Boogeyman.
It's human nature to be set in one's ways, so to witness a moment of personal growth like this is a rare treat indeed. That holds especially true for us transients from the worlds, with deeply ingrained beliefs that can often be rather hard to shake.
There's a lot of transients with problems. Ugh.
Perhaps I was the first change between the two of us, seeing how I came to see Boogeyman as a colleague than a friend. It's only after I changed my own perspective that I could help him, in some small way, change his. And from there, the world itself began to change. If only I would have noticed sooner.
What's all this now? You okay, Housamo? So he's a colleague and friend now, huh?
Wishing you'd never given up a regret that follows you for your entire life. As my own life learned well, or my own family learned well. But it is that regret which brought me here to this world. This intricate web we weave is all connected somewhere. So you too should be sure you never give up, no matter what.
Okay. I didn't really get all of that, but it sounds like it's good advice.
I do tend to ramble, don't I? It comes with years, I'm afraid. Anyway, I wouldn't want the children to think I've grown bored of their company. I should get back to them. Awee, awee!
Someone gets up to leave, but stops in his tracks, sensing some irregular movement in the nearby fauna.
Earthen! Watch out below!
Thick, oversized vines suddenly burst from the ground and begin rapidly spiraling up into the sky all around you. It's like a very lot of power. Are these beanstalks? Don't tell me.
Ah! Save me!
Do you think you could triumph over fear so easily? We'll be taking these children now.
The giant captures the child in one arm and grasps onto the vines as it sprouts with the other, quickly riding it up past the clouds. It's like a Super Mario level.
Stop! I'll end that children this instant! Here you come, Boogeyman. If we put our heads together, we can find a quick solution here.
Paying no mind to Itsamna, Boogeyman grasps one of the vines himself and is whisked up to the sky before anyone else can tell him otherwise.
I must have been observing us and finally decided to take some action. I'll go lend Boogeyman a hand. I'll take care of the rest of the children down here.
He then grabs onto a still-growing beanstalk vine as well and begins following his colleagues into heaven. Wait, I'm coming too! You reach out your hand and manage to meet his. The sand feels cold, but his grip is strong because he's cold-blooded. And the two of you wind up rising into the sky together.
That was rather impulsive, but I appreciate it. Hold on tight! My claws aren't hurting you, are they?
Itsamna giving good advice, 100 grand points added to the score. I'm fine. Call me impulsive. I'm a tiny bit afraid of heights, to be honest. Used to be a lot more scared when I was younger. But, you look down mall staircases and stuff and you get used to it. To some degree. He looks deeply into your eyes and you can briefly see a mischievous, useful glint belying his age and experience.
Touché! Here, climb up closer. You're less likely to lose your grip if you cling onto my body rather than just my hand.
Glad to see we slept in the horny there for a split second. The beanstalk just keeps sprouting higher and higher into the sky to the point that the trees below began to look almost unreal, like small heads of broccoli. There they go. Stay safe and have a good arc, Arathan.
So long as Itsamna is with him, he should be just fine.
Well, that's right. We should be more worried about ourselves. How are we supposed to protect the children from this? I mean, it doesn't matter since we already had our own arc.
You said my name?
No.
The three of them, along with the remaining children, find themselves completely surrounded by giants and rising vegetation.
3, 5, 4, 1. We'll be taking the rest of your kids now, dum-dums. You think we're just gonna let you? You'd be wise not to underestimate us. I have no qualms unleashing the full scope of my brutality now that Arathan is in Red Sea.
Hey! How am I supposed to know who's the bad guy now? Guess I'll just cheat and use the BGM to keep things straight. Yeah!
The roars and bad poetry of the giants mixed with strange cat jams being played by Ketchi for some reason create a very unique symphony that echoes throughout the forest. Okay, that's one way to start a battle sequence. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just sanitizing my hands right now so that I can wipe my eye without it getting worse. Ugh. Alright. Oh, no battle. Okay, that was weird. Alright, part 2 of episode 4. Let's do this. You guys really want to ride the grandpa, huh? Between Balor and Itsamna, I don't know. I don't think it's fair comparison because we still don't know anything about Itsamna's base story. Balor's base story is interesting mythologically in terms of being a king who is essentially the only one that's not immortal in his world, because all the other fairies is he the king of fairies or king of giants? I think he's the king of both. But yeah, all the other fairies seem to live off of his power so that they can be immortal. But in terms of his own sort of character development, he's very, what's it called, macho, in terms of always trying to protect us, and whenever it comes to the main story or even now. So, in terms of being a hulking bodyguard, good for him. But in terms of him, like, being emotionally close to us, I mean, he's kind of cutesy sometimes when he treats us like his grandson. Although, I that's all I can say about that. As for Housamo, I also don't know much about him. I know he's a good character, or a unit. But I'd say, just design-wise, I would probably go for... It's tough. I'd actually go... I like both. Is that indecisive? Alright, I guess if I had to pick one, I would go for... Housamo, yeah. Probably Housamo. Just because he's got that, scaly factor, not just a plain human. Even a blower stick, not human. Alright, let's resume. It ain't our fault that this game provides hot grandpas. May not be our faults, but it does leave us hot and bothered. Once upon a time, long, long ago, adults all across the land would issue a dire warning to all their children. If you break your promise or misbehave, a fearsome fae may come and snatch you away. The adults even convinced all the children that if they were ever to hear something go bump in the night or sense presence in a dark corner, that was the fae, waiting and watching. This fae was known by many different names, including Boggart, Bogle, and of course, Boogeyman. Interesting. One could even say this fae came to exist because of these stories, are all made of manifest, instilling fear into children in the parents' place. It's a sad thing, really. I have good taste. Were you waiting for that answer? You're like prepared to judge me? It's like quickly erase your bad taste there. Very unbased. Unsubscribe if I pick Balor. Why can't his name be Bogart? I mean, I would probably call him that as a nickname, just like a pet name. And a fragile thing at that. The role assigned to this boogeyman was so specific, so precise, that even a huff and a puff of air could send the whole house of cards crashing down. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's Boogeyman with this mask. For you see, this was a big bad fae created with a soul intent of frightening children. Yet he himself was little more than a newborn babe at the time, so curious and uncertain. You were in, honestly. Wow.
That child over there looks a bit on edge. Maybe I should show myself. And then maybe they'll be my friend. That would be really nice.
But as the children grew up and became adults, they all came to forget about that fearsome fae. Is this a... What is that? Is that like wood made? Oh, that is made.
I'm not some kid who believes in monsters. I know it's just a nasty trick invented by adults.
Although the fae never grow old and cannot be injured or broken, some have been known to die on certain occasions. It happens when they're forgotten. When the fae no longer resides in the memories of any other beings, they simply cease to be. I'm pretty sure that's more Housamo lore than in this Tirnanog lore, but maybe that's just the general principle for all worlds in all mythologies, at least within the world of Housamo. That is to say, referring to the fact that the power of things only exists as long as people believe it.
No, I don't want to disappear. I don't want to die.
But he was disappearing, his body even turning transparent. He desperately began to search for a way to be remembered. He pondered and pondered, but nothing came to him. Then one day, some other fae came along with a clever proposition.
I see. I just need to be scarier. If I can frighten them enough, they'll never forget me.
The fae was elated by this ingenious plan. This would solve everything. He went to work and began traumatizing every child he could find. Oh my god. Imagine Boogeyman was a null attribute. Now, I've heard what null is about, but I'm not certain about the ideas. So, you know, try not to imply what this, you know, the uniqueness of null is in story-wise. But eventually, the children grew accustomed to the tricks, and the Fae had come up with new ways to become even more frightening. Each time the Fae had a new idea, he would look forward to seeing how the children would respond. But the children just kept adapting to the horrors. The Fae was always locked in a life and death struggle, and he was losing, always inching closer and closer to being forgotten. It's a really sad story. Oh my god. It's for Boogeyman, it's just the right to exist at this point. The right to live.
Why? Why? If I can't think of the perfect plan, I'm going to vanish for good.
Seeing no other choice, the Fae ramped up his efforts. He went on a rampage of fear, and through many tears and screams, his body eventually became solid once more. He had instilled an undying terror in the hearts of the children that would surely last them the rest of their days.
I did it! I really did it! I'm saved!
The problem is, no one would come near him anymore. The very sight of him caused anyone who beheld it to run away. He was alive, but now also painfully alone.
Why? Why must I live in solitude simply for doing what I must to preserve my existence?
He wasn't about to give up. Something had to be done. He just had to figure out what that something might be. Fortunately, this is around when he realized that even though the children were frightened of him, their parents were grateful for his help.
When I scare the children, they stop misbehaving, and the adults all thank me for what I've done. They actually thank me.
And this is the one way that the lonely Boogeyman first established a bond with the people of this world. Right, he has gotten along with Housamo. Ooh, what is this background? Have we ever seen this before? Has this background ever been used before Valentine Fantasy? Probably has, honestly, but it's just like there's so many untranslated events before this one. If I saw Boogeyman, he wasn't able to keep away. If I saw Boogeyman, I'd be like, no! Whatever you do, don't abduct me and keep me in your basement and have your way with me. That would be me. Totally afraid. Okay. The beanstalk finally stops rising, and you open your eyes. Now high above the clouds, you and Housamo see before you a small town of all things, shadowed by and possibly a large castle. If it was Summer before, it would probably be one of those untranslated events like Summer River Adventure. And there, by its gate, stands Boogeyman and the giant who escaped with the child, each staring the other down.
Housamo! Earthen! What are you two doing here?
Hey, we were worried about you. It's too dangerous to do this alone. You need to rely on your friends.
You can't really believe you to take on a giant by yourself, can you? Precisely when it's you they're after. Think about it. The giant this giant took is among the only ones you were able to console. You're the target here.
Well, is that the story that's happening? The giant sneers, perhaps surprised that Housamo was able to see through his scheme so readily.
You're only half right. We wanted you too, Housamo. You two stand in the way of the new King of Horrors.
More giants emerged from the buildings into the town. They began forming a circle around you. as they begin circle jerking.
We were born from the combined powers of Hitsamu's creativity and Boogeyman's capacity to instill fear. In a very real way, you are like our parents, so we do not wish to cause you harm if it can be prevented. I'm sure you don't, but I'm also sure you'd rather not betray your king. And ultimately, monarchs supersede creators. My own experience in my own land has taught me that much. I'm glad we're on the same page. There's no need for further explanation then. I'd have you both surrender to the new king now. That would make things much easier for us all. Though I'm afraid we will need to take that little one you've got there as an offering. In exchange, you will receive the new king's favor, and your time here will be much more pleasant. You know, we could never permit you to lay so much as a finger on Arthan.
My mage in shining robes. Thank you, Itsana. Yeah, if you were to let me get abducted by anyone, it would definitely be World Giant. Not a big fan of Wood Giant.
I expected you'd say as much. What are one of you, Boogeyman? Do you really share that sentiment?
They have babies together.
You are aware of what would happen to you should you lose your powers of fear, no?
This warning doesn't seem to faze Boogeyman at all. His glare remains fixed on the giant standing before him.
Oh, I'm aware. The old Boogeyman would have given in to that threat without a second thought, sadly. My jealousy as to how easily children accept the Hitsamu but won't even give me a second glance would have sealed the deal.
Not only does this seem surprisingly honest on Boogeyman's part, but it feels as though it's half directed at himself, like it's something he may have only just come to realize. Hitsamu has suspected this from the beginning, but was never quite sure. He continues to listen intently to Boogeyman's rousing monologue.
But I learned that even Hitsamu has his own troubles, his own insecurities. Knowing this helped put things in perspective. So many others too went out of their way to help me. Ketchi, Balor, Darthan, and all the children. I was never capable of much on my own, but working together, we actually managed to bring these kids some joy. When Hitsamu first proposed the addition of Canyonland to our virgin world, I thought it was pure hogwash. But that idea changed my entire perspective on the world, and on life as a whole.
The BG looks like a part of Kanan to me. They never use this background Kanan. Like, absolutely not. Never. 0%.
It changed me, and there's no returning from how I once was. So consider that my response to your little proposal.
Mr. Boogeyman. That was beautiful. Thank you.
No. Thank you, Arthan.
Boogeyman. Doki Doki. Wak Wak. There were never any floating islands in Kanan, yeah.
I may have provided you with the opportunity, but you are the one who chose the new path, Boogeyman. It's easy to hold fast to one's own long-established beliefs or to fall in line with what masses would have you do. But you swallowed your fear and took that courageous first step away from those trappings. I'm proud of you, Professor.
Oh, that's mutual professorhood.
You never cease to amaze me, Professor.
Encouraged by Itsamu's words of support, and in spite of the gravity of the situation at hand, Boogeyman can't help but smile.
You've been an inspiration to me as well, Boogeyman. Seeing you undertake your personal journey gives me courage to do the same. Besides which, you made me reconsider how best to get through to my children. So if you've changed on my account, you owe me no thanks, for I've changed just as much as yours as well.
Watching Itsamu and Boogeyman's love fest seem to be boring the giants so much that you can practically see their eyes roll back into their heads. Honestly, I mean, it is like, you know, oh, look at all this character development, but I do feel like after a number of events, it does kind of happen to eye-rolling levels for this explicit character development where they have a monologue to each other. It's like, I've changed so much, and you've changed me, and now I'm a better person. So, like, yes, character growth does happen, but you don't need to say, I've grown as a character. You don't need to say that. You can just visibly see it from their differences in actions. Although I guess because this is a text-based game, you know, they can't help but explain things through text rather than through action. Boogeyman and Eternal should kiss already. Yeah. I didn't realize they had a thing going, but yeah, I'm starting to believe it. They do got a thing. They clearly did not anticipate Boogeyman's personal growth having progressed to this extent. I'm on the wiki looking at the background, so like me if I can find it. It's probably one of the new ones. I doubt you can find it. But this, honestly, I would have no idea what event it would be used for other than maybe Summer Adventure at best, but I'm pretty sure Summer River Adventure was like a mountain and not this. It just looks kind of similar in competition.
You've lost your edge, it would seem, but that should be no surprise, considering the company you've been keeping. Back in the Virium, your and our chats were an inspiration to us, but this is just pitiful. No matter though, if you won't hand over the offering, then we'll just have to crush him right here and now. Not if I have anything to say about it. I am a teacher now, and it's a teacher's duty to look after his students.
The giants charge toward you. Your footfalls both sound and feel like thunderclaps.
Itzana, Arathan, lend me your strength.
You don't even have to ask. Let's take these jokers out.
There's nowhere to run, so we'll have to take them head on. But we can do it. Let's go.
Watching your parents being lovey-dovey is cringy to some. Oh, so they're our parents now. It's less that and more so just, you know, oh, you've grown so much as a person. No. If anyone's who's grown as a person, it's me. It's because of you. And you know, it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, a bit circle jerky. But yeah, that is the first part of this part, or the first half rather. Probably gonna be a battle sequence. Who's their child? I would be tempted to say it's me, but we're like the son and grandson and lost sibling and like brother and lover and wife and husband and you know, partner of like a million other people, so it's not a very creative answer. But yeah, if it had to be someone, it'd be probably some sort of fairy. I wonder if they go to the same... No, they don't go to the same school. Even their friends. Itsume teaches at that art academy, and Boogeyman, I believe, is in Shinjuku. Hence his relation with Jurong, who's also in Shinjuku. What the giant said. Eye rolling, yeah. Though this chapter does seem to be a feature of both Itsume and Boogeyman, which is surprising because I thought, you know, it'd be like chapter 4 Itsume, chapter 5 Boogeyman. I wonder what chapter 5 is going to be about. If is it just going to be more about Boogeyman or something? All right, here we go.
I am nothing but a substitute for parents tasked with a duty they wish not to perform. I instill fear so they don't have to. I am the Fae all the children forgot once they've grown into adulthood. But I want to be remembered. Somewhere in some small corner of their minds, I want there to be a little trace of me that remain. A wrinkle or a scar. It might hurt, I might be remembered in ways I prefer I weren't. But to be remembered at all, that's my dream. That's what I want most in this world. Or, at least, it was.
Despite being grossly outnumbered, the three of you managed to hold to your own surprisingly well. The giants recognize their impending loss and proceed to alter their tactics accordingly.
A frontal attack's not gonna win this. Hey, bring out the golden goose.
I do remember this part, but do you seriously have a golden goose? Was there a story about a golden goose? I can't remember. A number of giants emerged from the nearby building with a large number of captive children in tow. For beings that feed on fear, a storage of hostages of this magnitude truly is a goose that lays golden eggs. Oh, it's an extraction, I see.
Don't try to resist. It's thanks to the stubbornness of these interlopers that we're forced to do this, kids.
Jack and Beanstalk. Wait. What? Oh, right. Was that like one of the fake things that Jack got, kept on buying that was, that wasn't actually the case, but then the Beanstalk was actually the real one? And Jack and the Beanstalk had a golden goose in his castle. Oh, did it? I didn't know that. I only remember him climbing up and then, something about giants and then him cutting a tree down.
So, what say you? I wouldn't make one more move against us, or there's no telling what might become of these children.
It was real, I see. The giants all share a hearty laugh at this cowardly power play of theirs. It resonates deeply through your very bones.
You truly are monsters!
What can we even do? Ugh, this is so frustrating.
So, you're gonna risk having us twist off some of these kids' heads, or are you gonna give us our offering?
No, grotesque musk.
Wait! If it's an offering you want, why can't it be me? Please, take me in Arthur's place.
Also a singing harp, huh?
Stay where you are. What makes you think you could even be considered as an offering?
You glance over at Boogeyman. He's surrounded by even more giants than you and Housamo are. And this new hostage that's holding him back, he's becoming quite quickly overwhelmed. Contrary to what they stated earlier, the giants seem to be delighting in causing harm to their creator. In the midst of the violence, Boogeyman is reminded of a moment from shortly after the virtual world was completed.
There he is. There's our Boogeyman. That's the face that will scare a child so badly they'll never misbehave again. Please, Boogeyman, show us. We need to scare the children ourselves. Why are you scared them so much today? We're the scariest things in the real world, Boogeyman. Why can't we be as scary here, too?
How did things turn out this way? These giants looked up to Boogeyman so much just a short while ago. They admired him, but now... Jack stole it, and in some versions he kills a goose that lays a golden egg for a short-term gain. Which is where the expression, don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs is from. Really? Didn't realize. There seems to be a lot of variations when it comes to these super old fairy tales.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've let you all down. It's all my fault that things have gotten to this point. Well, you're taking these children hostage and set out to harm the people I hold dear. Yes, I am the Boogeyman, the embodiment of fairy tale horror. I scare the wayward into submission. Yet it's not the children who are wayward souls right now. It's you!
A power surges from within Boogeyman, triggering an irrational sense of primal fear with each and every giant.
No, if you tap into any more of your secret artifacts, we'll...
Whether it's to match the occasion or to hide his expression, Boogeyman once more dons his burlap mask. But the impression it leaves differs from when he was King of Horrors. For this time, he's only partially covered his face. Whether this symbolizes having come to terms with his own past or some other changes from within, however, only he could say. I kind of hate this skin. He looks so dumb with the partial reveal.
Let me show you the true meaning of horror. Silence of the night. Fear of darkness.
The giants cower in their faces, Boogeyman's rule. Their feet pinned to the ground with absolute terror. Now's their chance. They're open wide. Nice work, Boogeyman. Open wide. They're wide open. Well, it can eat while giving fear, I guess. You don't need some to take advantage of the giant's inability to individually fell each one of them. If the new king is to face this, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too. That fits way too much. Fucking Faceless. Faceless ruins everything. If there's a character that I dislike as much as Behemoth, if not more, it would be a Faceless. Jesus Christ. Boogeyman watches intently as it's probably a Faceless. You're right. A Faceless was best seen in the beginning, and I think they didn't know why he was absent. They never explained why. Boogeyman watches intently as the giants systematically and helplessly meet their demise. I mean, I think that he was said that to be missing. Maybe I'm imagining things.
You're in quite the jam there, Boogeyman. We really owe you one for getting us out of that.
Saved me. And you weren't half bad yourself, old man. Thanks for saving the day, Boogeyman. Virtual Summer Memory translation coming soon. Maybe. Nope.
I only did what the situation called for. Don't forget, I'm the one who got you all into this mess in the first place. Considering what would happen if I hadn't intervened, there was little alternative. If today has taught me anything, it's that there's no shame in relying on others. Not that you need me to tell you that.
Despite your victory, Boogeyman seems even more melancholic than usual. He stares long and hard at the fallen giants, his eyes teeming with regret.
Such is the power of our old king. May the new king beware.
The three of you stand on high alert upon hearing the giant speak one more. But it's clear he has no fighting power left. He continues to speak, however, despite these very likely being among his final breaths.
Beware, but fear not. For he will not fall to you. There is no king as dreadful as he. There can only be one king in Tirnanog. The next to fall will be you three.
Oh, if it's someone from Tirnanog, then I have no idea.
So you attacked us in the name of Tirnanog, then? Your belief was the reason behind your incursion.
The giant simply smiles at Boogeyman without uttering another word.
If you wish not to answer, then so be it. I'm content just to gather the captured children and return them to the land below.
Boogeyman turns to leave, only for Housamo to call out and stop him.
Wait, Boogeyman. There's one thing I need to know before you go. Is there anything important that you've been hiding from us?
Housamo feels a certain sympathy for Boogeyman, thinking back to his own brethren. He senses that he understands to an extent what Boogeyman must be feeling right now. For a moment, Boogeyman just stands there, and awkward silence descends upon the giant's castle town. Then he turns to face you, and Housamo with an eerie, almost forced smile stretched upon his face.
I haven't a clue what you're alluding to. Come now, we should get the children to safety at once. I just wanted to leave my mark. Just the tiniest scratch even. The smallest of scars. That's all. That's all.
Oh man, voicing Housamo and Boogeyman and the giants is quite exhausting. Okay, we're moving on to episode 5 now. Let's do this. Episode 5 of part 1. But yeah, I would have no idea who it would be if it was someone from the analog. Boogeyman, Eternal, the Giants, and Blora sound the same. I'm trying to make them different. Eternal does have that
gruff kind of voice like this. Boogeyman's a bit lower, but he also does have some inflections, such as when he kind of raises his voice a bit, I think. And also when he is
doing his evil laugh. The Giants, I don't know, I don't give a shit about mobs. And Blore doesn't actually gruff his voice at all, he just has a deep voice.
Kind of like this.
So, sorry if they sound too similar, but my dynamic range when it gets to the lower decibels isn't super amazing, so maybe it's hard to tell those kinds of nuances. Although, to be fair, it's fine if the Giants sound similar to Blore, because, you know, Giants, like, whatever. But yeah, when I choose a voice to differentiate from others, I think of many things. I think of the gruffness of their voice, so as in from to you know, that kind of like harshness, which makes me need to drink more water and actually like builds up a lot of fun in my throat, honestly. But also the pitch and the accent, and also, you know, I guess the kind of assertiveness with the way you do things, the breathiness, like with Katobopas, he kind of talks like this. Catchy, I've been kind of wavering with because honestly, it's kind of hard to do a high-pitched voice while also doing an inflection. But Catchy kind of has that kind of sound while being this high. I mean, in reality, I would be replicating Pikachu's voice, but that's pretty difficult. So I don't know. That's the closest I can do. And well, I can talk more about voice choice later. Let's continue. Valentine Fantasy and Eternal Fairyland, Episode 5, The Fearsome Monarch. Oh, don't tell me the Monarch's gonna be Boogeyman again. It's like, he's gonna face his darker self, even though he's already dark. Those who remain behind in Canyonland are fortunate enough to have no further incidents after the search group leaves. Have I considered becoming a VA? In passing, as a fun idea, sure. But it's not like I have an agent or anything, and I don't know. You know, I'm a man of quite a few skills. My main problem was those skills is actually just finding the place to apply them. And that's not just for voice acting, it's also for, you know, my skills that I've had for my job and stuff like that. Like, it's currently I'm looking for a new job, and it's difficult because I'm not very good at finding places to use my skills. Not knowing what else to do, the children all resumed their regular activities. Some making chocolates, some playing tag, some others reading books, and still others singing and dancing. But yeah, I'm happy that I do have a lot of skills. Just wish, you know, I could find some professional platform to do it in, or someone to give me a chance for that.
Dragon Braves all in a row! The wise one sinks, still 5 to go. The spark flares and fades away. Forgo on to save the day.
A troubadour hunter pairs are taken up into the air. Their giants crush them, and they're gone. Now only 2 continue on.
Oh, hey, it's like that from Mother Goose. It's a little creepy, but that's the part that really gets you, you know? I don't believe I've ever heard that particular rhyme before. Would you kids mind singing it for us again? Leet and Ben 10 gather around the singing kids, who are absolutely beaming. They respond by singing the same passage a little louder than before. Dragon Braves all in a row. The wise one sinks, still 5 days to go. Sparkle flares and fades away. Forgo on to save the day. Okay, that's a bit too much. The troubadour hunter are taken up into the air. The giants crush them and they're gone. Now only 2 continue on. Last time you'll hear me sing a lot. It's weird. I've definitely never heard that before, but I'm getting some serious deja vu vibes from it. I was seeking the very same thing.
The two listen for the kids to repeat the alleged Mother Goose rhyme, only for a sudden realization to hit them. Hold up. This Mother Goose song. It's a wise one, a troubadour, and a hunter. That does describe them, doesn't it? Even the numbers is exactly right. Hey, kiddos! Who taught you that Mother Goose song? The children promptly stop singing and exchange glances with one another. We never got his name. Well, do you remember what he looked like? Wait, go get your pencil and sketchbook on double. I've never done a composite sketch before, but I suppose I can try. Hey, it's better than nothing, ain't it? This could be vital intel for Ayrton and his crew. Benton noisily interrogates kids while Leek goes to work sketching out the features described. The finished product depicts a vase that's instantly familiar to them both. By the way, as for female voice acting, I tried to just raise their voice for no reason because, they don't have high voices because they raise their voice. They have high voices because of the nature of their throat. So it's like, for me, I don't think I think it makes more sense to voice act girls without raising their voice. So focus on their inflections and their, intonations, stuff like that, instead of just making them more high-pitched. Unless they're, like, irritatingly high-pitched like Leannon. Is that who I really think it is? I do believe so. Perhaps we've just uncovered the identity of the so-called King of Horrors. You descend the beanstalks from the land above the clouds and continue your search through the world of horrors, saving as many children as you can along the way. Most of the world of horrors has vanished at this point, transformed into the world of happy ends. Only a scant few locations remain as of yet unnumerated. The world of happy ends. Sounds like the dead ends from Final Fantasy. Yo, Prisma, welcome. We are continuing with episode 5, part 1 right now.
The next area to check is Mermaid Lake.
Hey, did those two have a fight or something? They've been acting strange ever since he came down the beanstalk. Housamo and Boogeyman continue to lead the group but are doing so in complete unsettling silence. I guess it's because Boogeyman kept the secret and Housamo doesn't like that. They didn't exactly fight, but something's certainly up. I wish I knew what.
It's probably just a matter of pride. Neither one wants to admit they said anything wrong, so they say nothing at all.
Malor, come on, you're not like that. Don't be so judgmental.
It's crystal clear that there's something Boogeyman isn't saying. No one who sees his face could possibly think otherwise, but no one wants to be the one to confront him about it. Are we just gonna pretend it's okay? He's hiding something. That smile is just so devious.
I'm waiting for him to decide to open up on his own. I think he's still grappling with something he's ashamed of. We all have our secrets. We just have to believe in him. To believe that when the time is right, he'll let us know.
You continue to advance in awkward silence, though this is soon interrupted by the sound of a beautiful song carried out on the wind. The farther you walk, the louder it gets.
We've arrived at the area of the Marrow. We should take care not to draw too close to the waters unnecessarily.
As you progress in the direction of the song, a beautiful lake comes into view, glinting majestically under the rays of the sun. Siren.
Dragon braves all in a row. The wise one sinks. Still 5 to go. A sparkle flares and fades away. 4 go on to save the day.
Are they saying that we're gonna be culled off one by one? If we're talking about wise ones, it's probably going to refer to Housamo. And Sparkle Flare may be referring to Ark.
A troubadour and hunter pair are taken up into the air. Their giants crush them and they're gone. Now, only 2 continue on.
Troubadour and Hunter? No, the Hunter is probably Ark. What? The Troubadour is probably Ketchi, since I think that's a musician of some kind. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. And then the other 2, what are the other 2 supposed to be? Wise one. Oh, okay, that still should be Zamna. Sparkle flares and fades away. It can only be lowered by process of elimination, couldn't it? Maybe. You see a singing mermaid somehow perched upon the lake's still waters, harp in one hand. Welcome, one and all. It would seem the dragon braves of lore have finally arrived. It's a pity you've had to come all this way, but you may rest assured, I have engaged in no wrongdoings. I have seen no children here in some time, and the last one I did see, I directed to Candyland. Troubadour and musician are basically interchangeable, yeah. And the only time I've ever seen that word spelled out was in Final Fantasy, so that's the only reason why I know that it exists. And it was used by the Bard. Awfully quick to plead innocence now. Why exactly should we believe you? Everything about this is suspicious.
I couldn't agree more. I sense nothing but malevolence from this being.
Wait. Now that the mermaid's no longer singing, I think I'm hearing something else. You hear it too? You focus your attention on sound, but you had just barely noticed. It sounds like cries for help, though they're very faint. There's no indication as to where the sound might be originating from, however, nor have any of Ketchy's search kitties reported anything unusual nearby.
Those are clearly children's voices. But my kitties couldn't possibly have missed it if there were any trouble in trouble here. If there were anyone in trouble here.
Please, English. As I said, I've engaged in no wrongdoings. Perhaps you're all just hearing things.
Where are they?
Boogeyman, do you know anything? Somebody tell us where to find them.
Remember, every section of this virtual world is based on a fairy tale. Which means this territory, too, is based on some tales of horror or another.
A fairy tale of mermaids? I don't know many of those, unless we're talking about the siren. Ugh. Are they sunken? Suddenly, Boogeyman dashes closer to the lake and attempts to catch a glimpse of what lies beneath its surface. Spurred onwards by hunch, far beneath the rips of the water, you can clearly make out a cage in which a large number of children have been trapped. Oh dear, you found me out. And here I thought maybe you were actually starting to believe me.
I think I've heard enough of this tale as well. It's about a fisherman and his sunken soul, isn't it?
I've done my best to gussy up the place. Perhaps you'd all like to become decorations in my abode as well. I'll be sure to scrub you nice and clean every day. It would be a lovely existence.
Not another word, mermaid. Return those children at once.
Oh, such violence. Well, have it your way then. If it's a fight you want, then it's a fight you shall have. Oh no, they're gonna cleanse and buff us to death. And reduce our CP at a 40% rate. I don't even remember what mermaids do. But yeah, I have no idea what Chapter 5 is about. It doesn't look like it's a feature of any specific character, which honestly is a breath of fresh air because that is the traditional way to do things. Commit a single chapter to focus on the development of one character. But they did a double whammy with both Boogeyman and Housamo in the previous one, although I guess Boogeyman's isn't fully resolved. It seems that we'll be learning more about the villain itself, which is usually just not learned about at all or shoehorned in the very last chapter. So this isn't even the last chapter though, so I wonder what both chapters 5 and 6 will be about. Imagine the good old Black Snow Hot Spring days. 10 chapters. In its defense, those chapters were all very short, and I think they just didn't know how to split a chapter before and after battle, so they just had to, do several chapters in sequence, so, chapter before and chapter after, and they didn't have any quest without battles at that time, I believe. That's my understanding anyways. Alright, that's... Mermaids appear one after another, but you have no difficulty in taking them down. The battle is quite decisively yours, in fact. Something seems awfully fishy, don't you think? Pun not intended. They are extremely weak. They're hardly resisting us at all. Not that in mind, but it's rather odd. Exactly. It's certainly possible that mermaids simply aren't skilled fighters, if you believe in their kits. But there's no denying that this is easy. Too easy. It feels on that stage, and you can't help but wonder if there's some ulterior motive at play here. Still, that doesn't give you any reason not to keep fighting. Once you've defeated the final mermaid, the surrounding scenery begins to change yet again. I guess we were worried for nothing. I had to speedrun that event to get the character quests for the stones. Oh yeah, I guess I do give character quests. The story's somewhat worth reading. Honestly, as much shit as Black Snow gets, it's not the worst story ever. It's still hands down extravagant. As a group, you approach the lake in order to dive down and free the children trapped within. But then, strangely, Boogeyman changes his course, and without saying a word, he disappears into the trees.
Hmm? Boogeyman? Where are you going? Should we be rescuing the kids?
I'm sorry. I suddenly don't feel so good.
Huh? Hey, you. What's the matter? Worried about his well-being, you all naturally decide to follow behind him for a moment, knowing his help may prove invaluable and you're better off with him than without.
Stay back. Don't come near me. I'm fine. I swear.
You don't sound fine. That kind of denial makes us even more worried. It makes us think something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. They're clearly hiding something. What can we do to help? Only Housamo seems relatively unsurprised by Boogeyman's behavior. He looks puzzled for a moment, but then his eyes go wide as realization strikes him.
Boogeyman! It can't be!
He dashes into the trees after Boogeyman, despite the warnings to keep away. And behind the trees, he does find Boogeyman, but one whose body has gone transparent and seems close to disappearing altogether. No!
What's happened to you? Your body!
Boogeyman turns to look at Housamo, but says nothing in response.
Hey, I asked you a question. Come on, say something. Tell me what's happening here.
Seeing Housamo become emotional for once causes Boogeyman's lips to curl slightly into a smile.
I've never seen you look so desperate before. And maybe the most wondrous thing I've ever seen today. But this is why I didn't want to tell you.
Boogeyman?
I never would have imagined you'd all look at me with such sadness and pity. I never thought it would end like this back in Tirnadog. I always thought I'd disappear alone, surrounded by no one at all. I hated that thought though, so I resolved to double down and spread more fear than ever. But now, I'm actually satisfied.
The smile on his face appears genuine. These are his true feelings. The sadness and pain render you all speechless. How does one even respond to a situation like this?
Oh, don't worry. I'm not gone yet. My sacred artifact's power to spread fear still remains. This is simply a side effect of having used up so much of that power all at once. Soon enough, it will subside. When are you going to disappear? Probably once the last section of the World of Horrors has been overwritten. So, it's not far off. Boogeyman, you knew this would happen from the very beginning, didn't you?
Boogeyman slowly, laboriously nods his head. The effects on him are clearly taking a huge toll already.
Let me ask you a different question then. Why is it that the children who made chocolates can no longer return home?
The usurper has overwritten the laws of this land. The means of escape he once knew does not stand. However, I say, be that as it may, there may exist but a singular way. Boogeyman, I'm afraid that your essence must fade. Boogeyman stares at the magic mirror, unable to hide his shock. In response, the magic mirror cackles mockingly. The core of this world, your sacred artifact, must lose all its power for the gates to be cracked. Then down shall come the enclosing dome, and those who are trapped here will return to their home. Such a caring old man, Itsuno grandpa points raised to Google. Didn't realize you're such a big Itsuno fan. I mean, I got the impression earlier, but it was pretty intense. Yet you who represent this land of fear, together with your virtual world, must disappear. Oh my goodness. There you go. Boogeyman remains silent, and the magic mirror somehow seems to be delighting in that silence. However, while the magic mirror had expected Boogeyman to react to despair, he suddenly began to smile instead.
Thank you, Magic Mirror. That's all I wanted to know.
Wait a minute. Did you not understand what I just said? You have to disappear. Leave no trace. Shouldn't you be responding with dread?
Of course, and it's a sobering prospect. But these kids simply should not be trapped in perpetual fear for no good reason. Therefore, I accept this as punishment for the times I spent spreading fear solely to ensure my own survival.
It occurs to Boogeyman that if he were to choose to disappear in this manner, he may just be remembered for the sacrifice he made, even after he's gone and the terror he stoked is forgotten. Maybe the sacrifice could be that tiny scratch which forms into a huge scar in the minds of those around him, a memento of who and what he is rather than what he was. Kind of a remember me moment as he jumps off the cliff. Boogeyman has been prepared to disappear since before you departed on your rescue mission together. Itsuno is reminded of the headmaster of Tokyo Santa School, who had similarly drawn great power from the legends and traditions of Santa Claus. Alright, so this is like literally the first reference Itsuno references his debut event, at least indirectly. If he ever acted in defiance of the beliefs that others hold into being known as Santa Claus, he would lose much of that power and would similarly fade into non-existence. Yeah, I do believe we covered that in one of the Christmas events that had been translated. Itsuno had forgotten just how powerful legends and traditions can be, and is humbled for a moment to think of it. Moreover, he had forgotten the existential danger posed by getting one's power from a legend, only to then have belief in that legend challenged or quashed.
Why didn't he tell us sooner?
None of us
None of us want you to become a sacrifice. My friend, you have no need to worry. You will all be able to guide the children to be their very best, with or without me. So please, don't cry. Smiles suit you so much better. Smile as bright as the sun.
Boogeyman gently puts his hands down on Isamu's cheeks, performing the motions as though to wipe his tears away. Yet the tears remain. Oh no! Even his physical permanence is despairing.
No, I won't be able to guide the children. I'm not the man you think I am. I'm not that good. If I'd known things were going to come to this, I would have said something sooner.
Before Isamu can utter his next statement, the scenery around you transforms yet again. Holy shit. A pair of mermaids suddenly re-emerge from within the lake and grab hold of Isamu and begin pulling him under. Isamu! This event is a love story of Isamu and Boogeyman. I'm feeling the love, yeah, I'm feeling it. Showing it slowly. I thought it was just, meant to respect mutually, but I'm feeling the love. Before you can make a move, a band of giants jump out from behind the trees and surround you. From within their ranks emerges their leader. Valor? What? But Valor is betraying us?
So this is all how it turns out. I owe you a debt of gratitude, old lizard.
Can it feel the love tonight? Alright. Well, I can see, if you read the story before Endaldi, I can see why you didn't like Valor.
But there's not enough room in this world for two other old authority figures, I'm afraid. And that goes for kings as well. There can only be one.
The King of Horrors has finally made his entrance. Well, interesting. It does explain why Baloro seemed to be rather complicit with, but only very silently and begrudgingly, with the plans to get along with the children, and hasn't really made much of a statement about rescuing the children or about their plight to stop the King of Horrors. Everyone else is talking about oh no, we gotta stop it. Baloro's kind of just like, yeah, sure, I'll come. All right, this is the last part I'll be covering, part 2 of episode 5. Let's do this. This is the first time they ever did they revealed a villain to be, what's it called, someone who we already knew throughout the entire story. And not just as a, it was their evil inner side all this time, or their past kept to haunt them. No, it was just them. And they were they were the traitor all along. Someone is a traitor among us. Yes, an imposter. Imposter or traitor, pick your pick. But yeah, that's interesting narrative-wise, because Housamo has never really done anything like that. Kudos to them, because this is breaking the formula more than I expected. I do think Balor never really did get a proper first chapter anyways. He kind of just beat up those giants and then that was it. So maybe we'll learn more about Balor this time. As for a boogeyman, though, I can't imagine what the compromise would be. Maybe they'll just hand-wave it? They did that for Alp in Nightmare Kingdom. He had the problem of not being able to sustain himself unless he ate the dreams of other people. And then at the end, they're just like, okay, join our guild, and then whoosh, that problem just never got resolved. Something to deceive your allies, you must deceive your enemies. True. It's like keep your enemies close and your allies close and your enemies closer. It's kind of like the opposite of that. But yeah, Usually they resolve the issue, but sometimes they kind of just hand wave the problem if it's something fundamental to them. Alright, let's continue. All remaining young in Fairyland, and there's a prevailing belief that all of life's burdens can and should be deferred to others. Injuries, old age, let someone else deal with such trifles. This is how the Fae operate, but moreover, this is how the humans who birthed the Fae operate. Humans are the ones who put the burden on scaring children onto Boogeyman, after all. The humans founded this belief, and from it, Boogeyman came to be. The belief was not born of the Fae. And so, in the world of Tirnandag, the inconveniences of others become the seeds of new life. No one is born without a burden preloaded upon their shoulders. Huh. That's a new take on the mythology and system of Tirnandag.
So, how does this make you feel, grandchild of mine? What kind of person do you think the king of the Fairyland truly was? Can you envision him to be a compassionate ruler, having taken on so much baggage from the moment he was born? Is that really how you think of the great King Balor? I fail to see how it could be, given all that you know. The real fact is, you don't know a thing about me. You have no notion of what it means to be king. Of course, how could you, when I was always off fighting on some battlefield, rarely ever returning home to teach you? The king of that world is devious and selfish. The most devious and selfish there can be. No other Fae can impart fear and outrage as sorely as I. Alright, Scallypoka. Go on and tell me that interesting story of yours. So impatient, Balor. As you wish. I told you I went to visit the crafters, though. Well, Hephaestus and a brother of mine, but we're both there, working on the most fascinating project. The Scallypokas proceeds to tell Balor about the virtual world Housamo is creating with the help of the crafters. Balor's grandpa points gone, erased, vanished, dissipated, faded, dwindled, evaporated, obliterated, and now I didn't know about the twist. Garbage old man. Yes. It was your intuition who told you. You knew which was the better grandpa. And get this. I mean to base this virtual world we're making on your homeland, Tirnandag. So, I don't see what's so fascinating about that. Recreating the woe-begone fairy realm is an act of sheer madness, if you ask me. I didn't say he was recreating it. I said it was based off of on Tirnandag. That doesn't mean it'll be an exact reproduction. Fair enough. What are they planning to change about it?
Balor is just a giant collection of red flags, and this is coming from a Mephistopheles Hakuman Tanatomostan. He accepts those red flags.
Oh ho! You've asked the magic question. Listen closely now, for I have much to divulge.
To Scallypoka, a specialist in webs and networks, therefore taking a vested interest in this particular project, enthusiastically explains everything he's heard to Balor. So, why does Tez know about this again? Like, he went to the crafters. Did he just overhear from Housamo or something while they were talking?
They're using technology from other worlds, most notably Utopia, to allow for time compression and dilation. I dare say that without such technology, it wouldn't even be possible for them to create this virtual world at all. All five senses will be completely immersed in the digital network, virtually nullifying the passage of time. By which I mean, time inside the simulation is synchronous to the speed at which the brain processes signals. This is why, so long as you're in that world, you'll practically never age. If Tez, you wouldn't question it. I mean, everyone has their poison. If it was Boogeyman, I wouldn't question it. Unlike Tirnanog, eternal youth is actually a reality of sorts there. Even kings would not so readily grow old within. So, are you impressed now? It truly is as if they've created their very own Never Neverland, don't you think?
Oh, is Blore feeding it because now he can live eternally too?
Never Neverland, huh? Isn't that the world where the child abductor Peter Pan lives? Together with all the kids he's stolen from their families. None of them ever growing even a day older. It seems you know your fairy tales. Did you read that one to your grandchild before bedtime, perhaps? There is always a catch, though. Their perpetual youth came at a price. And I'm sure there's a price to pay this time as well.
Skalipoka's mouth widens into a devilish smile. He nods.
A different one than you may be thinking of. A utopian price. Your fairyland rules don't apply here, remember? But that's precisely why I imagined you might actually have some interest in this particular bedtime story. What say you, comrade? You may love your wrinkles as much as you love your scars, but how deep does that love go?
Assuming Blore would totally disregard him once again, Skalipoka is surprised to find him instead taking a vested interest. Blore leans a bit closer.
I just might be interested in this virtual world you speak of. Tell me more, comrade.
Gross! I mean...
I never would have imagined I could create something on this scale. You're a true genius, Utsamna. Creators are really something else. I'm honestly impressed. Your input has astounded me as well. You really should take more pride in your prowess as a crafter. Thank you. I'll get right prepared to take you home. Wait right here. Oh, how I'd like to argue the necessity of that, but it's quite cold today, so I think I'll take you up on that on.
Right, he's got that cold weakening, or freeze weakening. Faces is just about to house for your car for the Eternal when one suddenly pulls up to the front of the workshop. In this case, it's more of a bus with barred windows. He turns to Itzamna, but Itzamna, what? Seems as perplexed as he is. Someone familiar to them both soon steps out from inside the prison bus, however.
Surprised to see me again so soon.
The two of them lower the gaze to meet that of Skalipoka. Indeed, has visited the workshop not long before, but he's not alone. A low bassy voice is next to be heard.
You'll read something in the face, Snow. What have you got up your sleeves now, Skalipoka? Who is this you brought here? Oh, I'm here on his behalf this time, not my own. My comrade has some business to discuss with you. Specifically, in regards to my brother Quetzalcoatl and his one's dear mother. I've come to get the two of you involved in something. Take a good look at this. Whoa, that's a massive cock.
Yeah, Blore just appeared out there. Oh, did he use his, did they use their sacred artifact to induce what's called trauma of past loops? Using the power of a world pillar, Blore shows his two unwitting hosts a memory of the past. Itzamna blinks in disbelief for a moment before slowly, cautiously responding. I mean, that can only be the thing, right? Blore has a pillar? No, that can't be the case. That's definitely Skalipoka's power. Blore doesn't have that power at all. I guess he's just borrowing Skalipoka's power. But yeah, Blore's power is really just his eye.
Quetzalcoatl, of course. One of the souls within Arthan. But how could something like that have taken place within me here in Tokyo? Skalipoka has enlightened me to a great many things, old lizard. Am I to assume from your reaction that you too regard Arthan as a beloved grandchild? Quetzalcoatl is not my grandchild. El Dorado has no concept of the passing of generations. Frankly, my world's concept of brethren would confound those born of other worlds, I surmise. Nonetheless, on a purely emotional level, You're not far off. I suppose you could think of our relationship in those terms. Well, our grandchild, then, is one who cannot be saved here in Tokyo. What? I think you're beginning to see why I've come here now.
What? Hold on. So this is not just any event where, you know, oh, character development and, oh, you know, like, learning about a different world and, oh, collision world. This is actually, like, there's action being taken here in this loop. I'm not sure if it's, like, the same loop as the other events, but at least in this story, it seems that Balor most likely wants to imprison us in this Neverland so that we can live the remainder of our lives there eternally, safely from loops. As was the case with many other loops, we've seen other people try to rescue us in their own weird ways. Like with Hephaestus trying to keep us in his basement. Very cool. And, you know, there's just many approaches, and this is one of them. That's really interesting. Yeah, this is the importance of the story just went up, like, by that much, you know? The fact that they're talking about a main quest relevant motivation, which is preserving us and keeping us alive and, you know, being aware of loops in general. Because generally, events are kind of agnostic of loops, right? Like, pretty much none of them really refers to loops. Maybe it implies that some world pillars, like, are recalling past loops, but it never actually, you know, has, like, motivations based on past loops like this. So this is really cool.
You intend to use the mock fairyland we've created as a sanctuary.
Housamo closes his eyes and recalls the history of El Dorado, where he and Quetzalcoatl are from. He recalls the wisdom he spread and the many children he taught and guided there. Most of all, he recalls how, despite his best efforts, they all sacrificed themselves in the end. Life, in all its many forms, is only stifled by the ideals of El Dorado. It's as if the land itself devours the light of hope from all those who traverse it. No matter how Housamo fights against the tide back then, what was deemed supreme remained supreme. There was never any meaningful change. There was only the pervading belief. So his world seems to be a lot like Rokei Okamui's. I forget the name of it, but essentially it's kind of like a wasteland where life can't really survive. Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl, my brother, can't you see I pushed myself to the limit? All I wanted was to give them an option, a choice. There are other roads that they can take besides sacrifice. They can choose their own destinies. I only wish for them to understand that, but they simply will not listen. The tale of Forest Elder holds no weight.
If that's the case, then this story is actually kind of big, extremely big spoilers for anyone who didn't finish the main quest. You can make an argument for pretty much most events, if not all other events, that, you know, you don't need to see the main story to really enjoy this one. On this one, the fact that they're referring to loops, it's a bit of a massive spoiler. I feel like they actually did say that it when Valentine Fantasy first released. Something in the Housamo.info page, they're like, please read the story first. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I'm pretty sure they said some stuff like that for at least a few events. Maybe Valentine Fantasy was one.
Why do my teachings not get through to them? Am I wasting my time even attempting to change their ways?
Housamo opens his heart to Quetzalcoatl, revealing a weakness he's shown to no other. You remember they said something about it? Okay, good, it's not just... Oh man, this mustache is so itchy.
Each day, my proponents are growing fewer and fewer in number. Quetzalcoatl, has the time come now? Perhaps my cause has been futile from the start. Perhaps one simply cannot swim against the world's tide.
Somehow, Housamo can't recall whether or not Quetzalcoatl had been sympathetic to his musings in this discussion. But of course, Quetzalcoatl, in all his tempestuousness, would never outwardly express such thoughts. He's always favored actions over words. So does that mean that Housamo was complicit in the King of Horrors usurping the world from Boogeyman.
I should have realized sooner. Forgive me, Quetzalcoatl. The weakness I've been showing is unbecoming of me.
It's around this time that Quetzalcoatl vanishes from El Dorado altogether. Almost there.
I spoke with Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl mere moments before they left that world. And I could only wonder if perhaps it was my words that rallied them to action. Perhaps I was the one who robbed them of choice. Perhaps they were already suffering the absurd demands of that unreasonable world. What could I do to make up for that mistake? Should I just sacrifice myself as recompense? I wondered.
So Itzamna was telling them that they had a choice of living, but now he's thinking that maybe by talking about it out loud, he robbed that choice of them, and that they have always been aware of that.
And then I realized, perhaps even I am still trapped by Eldorado's twisted belief in the glory of sacrifice. So I agreed to help you, Valor. We are both set to come and save Aerthin.
He is complicit.
But we never agreed to any of this. You promised me you wouldn't get anyone else involved. It is necessary to stabilize this world. Thus, I admit I deceived you. But you, Itzamna, you had intended to deceive me as well, no? You've intentionally kept me from the means by which this world can be escaped. Truly, you are a brave lizard to deceive the likes of me. But for as old as you are, it's good to see you are so spry. Yeah. The deal was, I cut the ties between him and the Changeling, and you save him from the fate of repeated sacrifices.
Him and the Changeling.
Or at least, that's what I thought. But you're here trying to give Aerthin a choice. That is correct, Valor. And I thought we were on the same page with that. I wanted to free Quetzalcoatl from the fate of continually becoming the world's sacrifice. But then, I learned so much from so many different people, and my way of thinking on the matter changed.
It changed between when you first made the world and when you entered it now? How much time has elapsed since then?
It is not our place to force any choice on anyone. Their decisions are theirs alone and must be respected as such.
Itzamna looks Belor square in the eye, and Belor returns that stare with an icy grin.
Have it your way then. I'll consider it a compromise, but don't go influencing the Aerthin now. Are you surprised, my rebellious little grandchild? Grandpa certainly hopes so.
Why? Why are you doing this? So you're the King of Horrors? I should have known from the start. I think he's talking about getting his memory of the loops back. Itzamna, that is. In reference to what? I'm not sure.
I had so much fun playing the part of that stupid, lovable grandpa. But fear not. I'll give you a thorough explanation of everything later. For now, however, it's time to sleep.
Let's see. Well, it's good to see that warmongers are actually acting like villains again. Because, you know, after their own chapter, they sort of just acted as the goofy kooky gang. Blor charges at you with everything he's got, intent on knocking you out in a single blow. Although, honestly, Blor was never antagonizing us in the main story. This is the first time he's actually antagonizing us. Itzamna gets a trickleism worth of Grandpa for trying to give us word choice instead of just kind of kidnapping us like usual. Grandpa, snap out of it.
Fine. If it's a fight you want, Don't be a fool! As you are now, you stand no chance against a king such as myself.
In the blink of an eye, someone swoops in and snatches your sword away from you. What? That was a cat. Catchy?
Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't give any order. Hey, kitty cat! What are you doing? Return that sword right now!
But the cats ignore Ketchy's commands. They run off out of sight with your sword. Uh-oh. Looks like he's usurped the cats as well.
No matter how well they're like their king may be, the Pixie Cat realm does not stand united under his banner. But look on the bright side. Time is practically at a standstill here, so you can remain their figurehead king forever.
Hearing Ara's yahaha makes me think he would be a great villain one day. Well, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Of course, a good king should always abide by the will of the subjects. So what say you, King of Cats? Will you side with me?
Just say I'm not a villain already. I've already got the evil mustache troll going on. The cats look back at Ketchy expectantly, eyes wide and pleading for him to follow their lead in service to Balor.
Please know that you like me, and I want to do right by you. I really do.
Keep your head on straight, Ketchy. Don't let them manipulate you. You say that, Boogeyman, but here, you of all people should know the gravity of the situation here. Even if you combine your efforts, you wouldn't stand a chance against the likes of me.
This is no exaggeration. His card is busted. Well, you know, maybe we could fear him and keep it in place as we keep slashing him from the side.
Enough! May you dwell eternally in the throes of terror. Silence of the night. Fear of darkness.
The giants remain unshaken. They don't even seem mightily bothered by the strike.
What? Impossible. Better not lump my giants in with those lowly NPCs you created. The difference is quite vast. They so are the best fighters there are. They've seen greater horrors on the battlefield than you could ever comprehend.
So they're probably the giants that have been trained under Tezcatlipoca through the loops of broken loops, or you know, the loops of what's it called when they killed their own loved ones.
Trying to strike fear into their hearts with your little parlor tricks only serves to embarrass you.
Yo, Rawson, welcome.
Did you forget? This is the world of fairy tales. When faced with fierce wolves or bands of thieves, brute strength always pulls through in the end.
It seems that Balor was just playing with Ketchy's opinion on the king as if it were a farce that he, you know, was smiling along with.
But overthrowing a king, that falls well outside the purview of dear old Mother Goose.
A trichiliocosm are the billions of infinite worlds that exist in ancient Indian cosmology. Interesting. Boogeyman and Ketchy are quickly surrounded by giants. Before they disappear from view behind the massive figures, you can see them signal for you and Ark to run away. I think it's you they're really after. We should do as they were signaling and run, Arathan. My sacred artifact is crying out. It's telling me I got snubbed for an amazing 5-star and Laura got a busted one. It's completely not fair. It's also telling me I'm incapable of defying the king's will here. It's the memories of a saint from long ago, whom another king had branded a witch, that informed this judgment. No. I can't. I won't! Are we supposed to ignore her friends? It grabs hold of your hand and begins running, forcefully dragging you away from the scene. Without your sword, you're a sitting duck. He captured you in no time. But this is Balor we're talking about. I don't think he wants to hurt me. We can all get out of this together. Well, he did say something about wanting to cut ties between you and your changeling. What does he mean by changeling? Does he mean our human form? So on that point, we're in agreement. I think he means to protect you despite all this. But I have a feeling we're not seeing the full picture here. After all, the king of giants before anything else is a king. Arc suddenly comes to an abrupt stop as the two of you practically slam right into a large group of giants standing in your way. There's something I need to tell you if we ever make it back to Tokyo. And until I get that chance to say it, I have no intention of throwing in the towel. Run, Arthur. I'll catch up with you later. I won't argue with this time. Just don't let yourself get hurt. Oh no. We're being peeled off one by one. This seems familiar. They've done this in one other event before, where we are running away towards the final battle, and then all the other variants, are peeled off one by one to face the lesser enemies. You run with all your might, never looking back. All your energy is focused on losing your pursuers. I always feel like Valentine Fantasy is just a virtual dungeon and Dragon's game's gone wrong. Have you read the story a while ago before? But a king's will is absolute. It is cruel and it is merciless.
Do you really think you could get away from me?
Before? How did you? Come on, just look the other way, Gramps.
Ordinarily, I'd be willing to give my dear grandchild a pass. But a king has his duties, you understand. If you have any other requests, however, I'll hear them. You can think of what to ask me while you're chained up in a cell.
Valor notices your look of absolute determination, despite being well and truly out of options, and bursts out into a fit of uncharacteristic laughter. Still not ready for my laughter.
Even against all odds, you still insist on defiance. I admire your will. You've lost your sacred sword. The Lady of the Lake has taken your wise lizard. And you're isolated from the rest of your crew. I'm afraid this fairy tale does not end happily ever after for you. And you can do little now but accept your fate.
I'm still not ready for your evil laughs. I mean, what's it called? Evil laughs are fun to do. They're more interesting than, good laughs. What would a good laugh even be? Why are you doing this? If you're trying to protect me, don't. Because your child means more than I do.
Now you're getting it. I am first and foremost a king. I am the king of the fairy realm. No other fae can match my deviousness. No other fae can match my avarice. A king acts upon every whim, making every desire a reality. That is my right. There is nothing in the world more fearsome than a king. The horror I embody stands above all. Who, our precious grandchild of mine, I'll give you that. But I desire so much more. Luke, heir to my throne. If the destiny that was to await you shall be changed, here and now.
Just as Tezcatlipoca embodies complete devotion to the system of sacrifice from his homeland of El Dorado.
I, Balor, embody the same level of unwavering devotion to the system of changelings for my homeland of Tir Nanog.
Stay back. I'm not giving up now. You'll never win this, Balor.
Go ahead and struggle. It's only fitting for the dear grandchild I am tasked with bringing to the slaughter.
Without your sword to block it, you take the full brunt of Valor's deadening blow.
Grandpa, you dumb old man.
Wow. Rude. Is a yeah out of nowhere freaking me out. It's right there in text to prime you. Your vision begins to spin and glaze over until finally everything goes dark. If you mean it's loud though, then that's a different issue. I hope you mean that it's like, what's it called? Well acted, but if it's loud, maybe I should, get a bit further from mic before I engage it. There's mic distance discipline. It's pretty difficult to maintain, honestly, but sometimes if you're changing, if you want to get a sort of voicing acting out, it necessitates that you start talking a good amount louder, and that point it's better if you want to keep that same volume to, keep your distance. Similarly, if you're talking quietly, get closer. If you want to do something like a whisper. Oh wow, that was an abrupt ending. Yara evil jump scare. Yeah. Anyways, we will go to my guild, and we will put on some scary music to give us inner peace, and we'll put on the creepy filter, and then we will go to the self-camera scene as Boogeyman stares into our very soul. Get away, you lesser grandpa. Anyway, very, very, very good. That was amazing, honestly. For a story, for 2 episodes, it broke the formula constantly. It was not just about Boogeyman for one episode and Insomnia in the other, and it revisited another one that never got proper fleshing out, and it made someone into a villain that was, the good guy all this time at the beginning, and it wasn't just some sort of, it was his evil past self. So in terms of, I guess this is what, modern stories are like in Housamo. It's just, we're so used to reading these old-ass translated stories from several years ago, such as Fashionista or something like that. That, it's hard to tell, but, even Jamboree's quality of writing was quite good, and that was a few years ago as well. But this one, it was a bit formulaic in the beginning, but later on, it's breaking those formulas. And even in the beginning, even when it was formulaic, the story and plot made sense. It wasn't just shoehorned in why it was going one by one. There was a progression. It wasn't just like a do X and then, Y happens, do X again, and a slight different variation, do Y. Rather, it was, different reasons for Balor fighting, Ketchy taking care of the kids, and then Arlic fighting off the enemies, and then Eternal and Boogeyman just breaking the formula, and having their own bestie/love relationship / mentors as besties. It was very cool. I do want to see some AR art of them now, because they're both very cool like that. But yeah, big fan of Boogeyman and Eternal's dynamic. Hope we can see more of them in the future, and hope I see Eternal's story as well, whenever that gets translated. And Balor, I'm glad he got this second chapter, because honestly, I hinted at before, but between his main chapter preview as well as the beginning of this event, I feel like we got to learn a good amount about his mythology, but we didn't really get a good chance of glimpsing what his true character is like. Sometimes he acts cute to see with us his grandson, but that's pretty much it, honestly, right? Just supposedly like the big muscular guy who's a bit standoffish but cares about his grandson. But this is really showing what his true character is like, which is, a king who places his authority above all else, and is willing to deceive and play the role of the fairy king as, someone who was born of just needs and of humans. So in terms of character writing, it's interesting too, because we haven't had like a straight up villain in a while, ever since Bale from Kanan, and he wasn't even technically a featured character since he wasn't released at the time. So I think it's really cool we had a proper villain. I thought he was just trying to protect us, and he probably is in his own way, but obviously he's doing it in such a way where he's doing a lot more than just trying to keep us protected in this world forever. He's like usurping the role of king and robbing everyone of their powers between Boogeyman and Itsamna and Ketchi. And that's going a bit far, so I'm not sure what his intention is here, but it seems he's a bit power hungry. Maybe we'll learn more about his intention later, but I can't see it as fully pure at this point in any way. There's no way it's gonna be like a purely intention at that point. It seems to be very selfish to the detriment of others in this case, very explicitly so, not accidentally to the detriment of others, but explicitly so. So yeah, I'm impressed by the writing here. You know, a Braceman formula, good writing overall in general, and has a villain that is not just, you know, some shitty villain, but actually an actual villain that is an imposter. Let me just read all this. Your evil mustache is getting more succulent. Yeah, I tried to use a different, what's it called, cream this time. I used some balm instead of some holding wax. It's not holding it as tight as I'd like, but as a result, it also looks a bit thicker, but it's also a bit more really. Anyways, personal hygiene aside. God, I thought Daikoku was the biggest piece of shit in Housamo, but Valor is catching up to him real fast. I mean, Valor, I'm sure he has an actual good intention, because, well, you know, good in his own view of keeping us protected forever. Maybe he believes that he needs to be the king forever in order to ensure that, because he did say or imply that, you know, the world can only exist as long as there's a king of horror. So maybe Valor is taking that rule of fear up to keep us alive forever in there. But at the same time, it's not great. Daikoku, though, I don't know, he's been just depicted as bad throughout, like, uniformly. He, you know, did that whole human/transient auction, and then he lied about what his role in Warmongers, and then he kind of just abducted Tsukiyomi, which we've never seen again, and I don't know, he has a bunch of shady things going on. We don't know his full story, but I don't think he's just very shady and kind of the same brand as Kirito, but yeah, I don't get fully. Valor backstabbing us hurts a bit more because it's more personal. We don't really know about Daikoku. I mean, he still is, but hey, they have the reasons, probably. I understand the reasons, still think they're both garbage. Yeah, for the thing of keeping us alive forever. Not surprised. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, I guess that is enough for me to talk about my thoughts on this. So, yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. It was a wonderful stream. Actually, let me see the results in this. Best grandpa is 67% Itsamna. Alright, there you go. The results don't lie. Alright, thanks for joining, everyone. I will be continuing tomorrow. Same time, actually not 10, sorry, at 10, so the proper time, for the final chapter, which will cover chapter 6, as well as the epilogue. I'm looking forward to it because the story was quite good so far, and I'm wondering to see how it will resolve Valor being the villain, and also how it will resolve Boogeyman's issue of existence. But yeah, see you tomorrow, everyone, and take care. Bye-bye!